Guys, hope you're doing well. My name is Monica, if you have not seen my videos before, and I tend to record videos about pretty much everything from personal finance through to lifestyle, through to even grocery hauls. So if that sort of topics interest you, be sure to click the subscribe and that little bell icon so that you know when a new video comes up. Now, onto the subject. I'm coming to you today with a video about cost of living in London, because that's what I know about. I have lived in London for about 11 years now, just over that, and I feel like it would be quite interesting to most people, similar to how it is interesting to me to know how much it costs to live in a certain place. And I'm not going to cover every single expense available in London, for crying out loud. It's a big city, there's a lot that you can do here, but I will cover the four most important things. That was five, but yeah, four most important things that you will need to consider if you're looking to either move to London for permanent or temporary or just a short term, or if you're here on holiday. And let's start with kind of similar character to what Dave Ramsey usually covers in his budget priorities. So the four walls. This might come to a shock to people that, well, live somewhere where it's affordable. Sorry, ignore that I'm fiddling with my hair. That will happen through this video. It's just not doing what it needs to do right now. Anyways, four walls. London is very expensive. It is in top 5 of most expensive cities in the world, and that kind of shows when it comes to property prices. Average one-bedroom property will set you over $250,000 outside of city centre, strict city centre, so zone 1 and 2. It will set you well over 300k, unless you find some sort of a ruin. I don't know how people do it, but people still manage to find one bedrooms for cheaper than that. One bedroom, by the way, is a property that has one room that holds a bed and a separate room. If you're wondering, I know in different countries it's counted differently. But one bedrooms are expensive. Two bedrooms, even more so. So finding a property below $250,000 is tricky. If you have that sort of money, great, invest it now. Now is the time, because it's still going up and it's not stopping. Even with the 2007-2008 crash, the properties in London have not exactly gotten cheaper, and they've been progressively growing in price recently. But if you're moving here temporarily, you probably just want to rent. So you have many options. One of those options is renting a room, and you can find rooms in zone 1, for example, for as little as £800–900. And I'm saying as little because it's not a huge amount for a room in zone 1 or 2. You can find rooms for a lot less than that. You can find rooms for about £500 even if you're looking outside of strict city centre. But I would say if you're here only for a few months, you probably want to be in a city centre. Now, because I've lived here for such a long time, I'm actually quite happy to be in suburbs, and frankly that works out better for me. Which means I live in the area where property is a lot cheaper. So average rental of one bedroom flat will set you back at around £900 to £1,000 a month, obviously not including the bills. If you are looking for a luxury flat, well, the prices start at £3,000 a month up. I've actually seen the other day properties on Zoopla and Rightmove for £3,000 a week and up. And don't be surprised if the rent is counted weekly, by the way. That's not at all unusual. You're also required to put down a deposit. Standard deposit is 1 month. Some places will call for 6 weeks, depending on the agent advertising it, on the type of property you're in, whether it's a room or a flat, and also the person that owns it, obviously. Now, the second thing that Dave Ramsey usually covers are expenses, such as bills, utilities, generally things that keep your four walls powered. And London isn't actually terrible in that way. So average water bill for a house is just over £300 a year, which by comparison to how much it costs to live in that space is actually fine. It's not a lot of money by comparison. You know, if you're paying £1,200 a month for just rent, £300 a year, it's fine. You can deal with that easily by that time. Bearing in mind, you have to consider your income as well at that point. And then we have other things like broadband, i.e. internet, because frankly, it's important to have internet in London. And maybe it's just me, but I don't know how people live without internet anymore. It's just crazy. And then obviously the electricity, the gas, if you have gas in the property. Interestingly, not all properties in London have gas. Some of them have electricity only, which doesn't bother me personally, but for heating purposes I much prefer gas. It's just a different quality of heat. Personal preference again. But those bills are usually within the range of 25 to 50 pounds a month each, depending on what it is that you're using, how many people in the household, etc. Majority of those utilities are metered utilities, so that you can argue out your bill if you need to. But in case of water in particular, not all properties have water meters, which means you would pay a set fee for the size of a household, depending on what Thames Water rate happens to be. I remember it being about 5 years ago, £200. It is now over £300, so that's going up significantly as well. Then, well, transportation. That's quite important too. You need to get places. And in London, I do not advise owning a car. It is actually cheaper to Uber places every day than own a car in London. I don't know who's done that research, but I had a look at the prices and yeah, they're right. So don't get a car unless it's a rental and you need it for very specific purposes. Public transport in London is absolutely fantastic. It is very reliable, except for Southern trains. Just saying Southern, pull up your socks, because that's ridiculous. But yes, transport for London is very, very good. The night tube also now runs, night tube being underground, running through the night. The metro in London didn't used to run through the night, and there's still a number of lines that don't, but majority of lines that are important, such as Piccadilly line and Central line, I think, and Victoria line, I think now run night tube, which is perfect. That takes you basically to city centre and out into main directions of London. And then, of course, we have buses, and there are night buses in London. A bus service runs 24 hours a day, which is amazing. The only time they don't run is Christmas Day, and they're not hugely expensive. So let's say you're in Zone 1 and you need a monthly pass. That will cost you about £90 at this point. I don't have exact prices because TfL tends to hike up their prices at the end of the year, and bearing in mind we're in January, I wouldn't have those to hand yet. I don't need a travel card right now, not getting into that. But then single tickets usually costed to the end of last year £2.90 off peak and £3.90 peak. Then if you're using your travel card or your contactless card, because yes, you can use your contactless debit and credit cards on public transport, I think as long as it's registered with TfL, the fees get capped at a top daily rate, which is great because if you, say, made 20 journeys, you will only pay for a single daily rate as opposed to paying for each of the journeys and racking up a bill. So that's really good. As I said, TfL, fantastic, very reliable. Sometimes a little bit overcrowded, but that's because there's a lot of people in London and the trains aren't very big. But it runs, it gets you places. So use public transport as much as you can when you're in London. And then final thing, and I think really important one when you're coming to London for a holiday in particular, is going out. And it's very interesting, but London can be very inexpensive going out, borderline free. All the major museums are free. There's very few places you need to pay to get into, but of course if you're going out to a posh nightclub, then be prepared to be amazed at the prices of cocktails, because London, in some ways, being very inexpensive, can also be very, very expensive. Meal in a good restaurant will set you back anywhere from £40–50 up, and that usually does not include alcohol. Alcohol can be a bit expensive because Londoners like good wines, and basically we appear to be quite picky eaters too. But at the same time, if you're coming here to visit, you will find a fantastic array of different restaurants, different flavors, different cuisines. It's basically a world hub for food at this point, even though British cuisine naturally, and don't feel offended, British people, is a little bit bland. The food in London, being very international, isn't. And even freaking non-exciting fish and chips can be fantastic. And yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to say in this video. Hope I didn't bore you to death. Hope this was interesting. And yeah, if you're visiting London, bring some money with you, because you're gonna need it. Thank you very much for watching. Give this video a big thumbs up and remember to comment, like and subscribe. Bye now!